Did the Niners were they just victims of bad luck this year, or did they mismanage the offseason, or both?
Okay, I think both.
Yeah.
I do think they had a lot of bad luck. For example, a lot of the injuries, Kittle, Bosa, those are devastating injuries.
Yeah.
And, I would call that bad luck.
Yeah.
All right. I would just call that bad luck. So sure. And again, being forced to play that Thursday night game, that was an abomination.
That's bad
by
luck.
The league.
Yeah,
so
that's bad luck.
They got screwed.
Yeah.
Having said that, I could say a couple of things that I really think they mismanaged in the offseason. And again, I'm talking defense. Iggy, their cornerbacks, I mean, they have trouble matching up with big, strong, fast wide receivers, and there's a lot of them.
They have trouble matching up with good wide receivers, and there's a lot of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of them in their division.
Yeah.
And the thing is, you were always hocking a Chinik all off season. You got to draft a cornerback. And these guys, it's like, nah, I think we'll get another offensive lineman who actually doesn't rush the passer, but
D
is
lineman.
out on the run.
Yeah, D lineman. Yes.
I'm sorry. Did I say offensive lineman?
Okay.
I'm an old man.
That's what I'm here for. That's what I'm here for.
You're here for. I meant defensive lineman. Look, D Ford is a lost cause, and then they lost Bosa. Look, you're supposed to have some guys who can rush the passer.
Yeah.
Last Thursday against Rodgers, he was so comfortable. It was like he was sitting on the beach, drinking a Corona or something. Yeah. They couldn't get any pressure on him, and he doesn't respond to pressure. So in the offseason, they could have really gotten an edge rusher and gotten some cornerbacks. I'd say that's real mismanagement.
Instead, they got Javon Kinlaw and gave Eric Armstead a lot of money and Jimmy Ward a lot of money. And those three guys are the invisible men every week. Although they say they're doing well. I just can't tell.
And another thing, no knock on Jimmy or Nick. They could have drafted a quarterback and started developing.
Packers did.
Yeah, I mean, Beathard, he's a very nice man, I guess. I don't think he has much of a future in the league, except as a punching bag, So
right.
I think another thing they should have done was to begun developing a quarterback. So
Real quick, remember what Walsh used to say about drafting quarterbacks?
Tell me, I don't remember.
You need to draft one every year. It's the most important position. It's the hardest position to get right. How do you do it? You draft one every year. You increase your odds. If you draft one every 5 years and it's CJ Beathard, how are you going to get it right? It's hard.
Right.
You should draft one every year until you have Joe Montana. And even at that point, he was still looking around, right?
You get Steve Young.
Yeah.
And, I don't think they ever liked each other. I don't think they like each other now. And it was like they brought Steve into the building, and there was tremendous competition between those two guys.
They didn't bring Steve in to be Joe's friend.
No.
I'm sure Billy counted on them not liking each other and thought, well, good.
I would think you're right. That's how Bill thought about things.
I want to stick with the mismanagement of the offseason. Yeah. I mean, not drafting a quarterback. Look, the Niners knew that they were on a year-to-year evaluation with Jimmy Garoppolo. They said it. They were like, he was good for a young guy. It was his first year starting. We still don't really know. Okay, well, they could have done that with Tom Brady. They could have, instead of gone year-to-year with Jimmy, they could have gone year-to-year with Tom Brady and drafted a guy. And instead, they stuck with a guy that they weren't really sold on. They made that clear. And now they're going to have to get rid of him anyway. So that was a mismanaged opportunity. They could have just gotten rid of Jimmy while he was worth something, and they had the misgivings anyway, brought in Tom Brady, brought in anyone. And then the whole getting rid of DeForest Buckner thing. Oh. I mean, not only was he their best player on defense, but he was the leader of the defense. He was like Joe Staley's heir apparent in terms of the voice in the locker room. And there's reports coming out of Indianapolis. He's doing great. And the defense is doing great in Indianapolis. And they're saying that he transformed it, and he's opening up about how he got there. And he said, it was really strange. I felt like I helped rebuild the culture in San Francisco, and we came time to negotiate. They weren't even willing to meet me halfway. We thought we were going to negotiate and meet me halfway. We put down our number, and they said, well, good luck. That was it. It was like, thanks for everything, DeForest. And so now the Colts have a great building block franchise player, and the Niners have Eric freaking Armstead, who has a sack and a half and floats through games doing the patty cake dance.
Meaning he's patty caking with the offensive linemen.
Yeah, doing a bunch of patty caking. Or sometimes it's a tight end. Teams are starting to put tight ends on him, and he's not beating them. He used to. I don't get it.
I guess what you're saying is people should not underestimate what a mistake it was with Buckner.
Yes.
And you would have to think, I would have to think that mistake was Jed York and Parag Marate.
Yes, I think they just felt Buckner was too expensive. It was, you talk about the cheapo Yorks, boom, right there. It's like, I want to put it in baseball terms. It's like if 25-year-old Madison Bumgarner and Jeff Samardzija were free agents at the same time, and the Giants were like, yeah, we prefer Bumgarner. We agree that Bumgarner is the better pitcher, but if we let Bumgarner go and sign Samardzija, we can also keep Pablo Sandoval. Like, oh my God, who thinks like that? That's what the Niners did. They basically kept Jeff Samardzija because it allowed them to keep their utility infielder too. No, you just lost your ace and traded him. You traded him for a guy who's I can't keep the baseball metaphor going, but Javon Kinlaw. You traded Buckner for a guy who has, how many sacks Kinlaw has this year, Dad? Can you guess?
No.
0.
Well, that's
Not
impressive.
One. Yeah, that's pretty
good.
good.
Only go up from there.
Yeah.
So you know what, Iggy, what I think you're saying is when it comes to football wisdom, the people who are running the show and giving the money are not showing wisdom.
No.
In fact, they're showing the opposite of wisdom, which would be not ignorance so much as foolishness.
The only reason the Niners have had success under this in the last 4 years is because their coaches are really good. So every time they draft the wrong guy, they sign the wrong guy, they trade for the wrong guy, there's some other backup who was a 6th-round pick or an undrafted guy who they developed. And they're like the Patriots. The Patriots used to do that. The Patriots stink at picking players because it's Belichick. He's not a GM, but they develop extremely well. And they always have these guys who, like in year 2 or year 3, like, who the hell is that guy? He's pretty good. Well, This is starting to catch up to the Niners. They don't have any more undrafted guys stepping up anymore. Now it's like, Armstead, we need you. Jimmy Ward, where are you? So now these mistakes are starting to hurt the Niners. And if they have a losing season this year, you step back and you're like, well, this regime has had 3 losing seasons in 4 years. What are they?
Iggy, I have a question about Armstead. You're criticizing him, and I think fairly. It's a fair criticism. Do you think his lack of production this season is a lack of passion or a lack of technique?
It's more than just that. I don't think he's playing as hard as he did last year. Last year, I thought he was the hardest playing person on the team. You could tell that he was in a contract year and he was great. This year, he's not particularly. Fred Warner is. And I think other thing is he's kind of playing out of position. Since the Niners lost all their defensive ends, he's playing defensive end, and he's not good at it. He's just not good at it. He's better on the inside. He's better on the inside when the offenses are more concerned with Bosa and Buckner and Ford. When he's the 4th pitcher.
Right. So again, it's a lack of football wisdom.
Yes.
You put the guy out, you pay him a lot of money and say, play another position that you're not good at. Again, there's a lack of football wisdom there.
That's right. It's the same thing they did with Solomon Thomas. Not that he had a position, but they drafted him. They're like, hey, we need you to play D-end. Same thing they're doing with Armstead right now. Hey, we got to get you at D-end. We don't have anyone out there. Okay, well, that's not what I do, but I'll try.